May the words of my mouth and the meditations of all of our hearts be acceptable in your sight, O Lord, my rock and my redeemer. Please be seated. So different faith communities have different ways of celebrating Maundy Thursday, the Thursday of Holy Week. And the Book of Common Prayer's special liturgy, it's in a separate place. It's not with the regular services. The Book of Common Prayer's special liturgy for Maundy Thursday gives us two choices on the gospel. Either John's account of the washing of the feet, Jesus washing his disciples' feet, or Luke's more detailed narrative of the Last Supper. And it's Luke's story of the Last Supper that gives us the familiar words of institution. He took the bread, and when he had given thanks, he broke it and gave it to them, saying, "Take, eat, this is my body." And then the cup, "Drink this, all of you. Drink of it, all of you, for this is my blood of the new covenant, which is poured out for many for the forgiveness of sins." And it is the Passover meal that is the basis for our Eucharist, our communion. And it's the "do this in remembrance of me" language from the Last Supper that, as Captain Brown pointed out in the meditation this morning, Maundy Thursday, it gives us the name. Maundy is a shortened form of the Latin word mandatum, which means command. And it's related to the English word mandate. We also observe in this service the tradition of stripping the altar. And after we read the Passion narrative, simplifying our worship space to that spare holiness as we wait for Easter. When I was living in Jerusalem, the year before I came to Emmanuel, I traveled all around those holy lands where Jesus' earthly ministry took place. And in all of these places, I was really drawn to the incredible holiness of ordinary things. Sometimes the very plainest, simplest actions undertaken with the most common, ordinary tools were eloquent acts of devotion and holiness. I was often amazed by the pure practicality of holy spaces, like Holy Sepulchre, which is that 4th century Constantinian church in Jerusalem's Old City. Holy Sepulchre is built over the sites that the church remembers that Golgotha, the rock quarry on which Jesus was crucified, and then the edicule covering the empty tomb, the rock-cut tomb of Joseph of Arimathea, where his body was laid. This is all built over this incredible site. There are 14 incredible sites in the church that are our holy sites that we remember. The interesting thing to me is that a Muslim family holds the key to Holy Sepulchre and has for hundreds of years under what they call the now I can't think of the name, the status quo, the status quo. And this key is half the length of my forearm. Easy, right? And heavy. And it comes every morning and they open those giant doors for all of the Christian denominations that share the space. Every denomination has its own area. Right inside the front door as you walk in is Golgotha. And you walk up these hollowed limestone steps. They could hold water as a dish because they are so worn by the feet of pilgrims over thousands of years. And millions of pilgrims climb those steps every single year. They can be replaced or repaired, but they're not. They never are. The wear of those pilgrims' ordinary, daily, blessed feet are themselves blessings, the prayers of ages worn into that rock. Every morning, and this is a ritual I love to watch, the women come in who are around, and I never knew whether they were volunteers or I don't think they were on a cleaning staff. They probably were just those who did it in their prayers every day, they would throw down on these steps hot, soapy water from an ordinary bucket that they probably bought in a shop, just steps from the parvis, which is the courtyard out in front of Holy Sepulchre. And then they would get down on their hands and knees with an ordinary brush from the marketplace, probably bought from the shopkeeper on the other side, and they would scrub those steps. Over in front of the Armenian chapel, which is built around the edicule where Jesus was placed in Joseph of Arimathea's rock-cut tomb, you always find this burly altar guild, like 3 big guys, and they're in jeans and t-shirts. And they're just doing the most holy things in the most ordinary way. There are, in the Orthodox Church, many oil lamps burning all the time. And over the Armenian chapel, there are so many oil lamps. They walk to the edge of the great big pillars and they uncleat them, just like we have cleats on our clerestory windows. You'll see those on the pillars. They uncleat them with big, heavy ropes, and they lower down these lamps. They scoop out the used up wicks from the oil with tiny ladles, and then they replace the oil that always is burning outside of the empty tomb. The oil is ordinary mazola oil because it burns cleaner than olive oil, right? And they bring it in and buy it in these big 5-gallon plastic oil jars, just like any restaurant would, to fry French fries, or for goodness sake, in Rhode Island, clams. It was a revelation to me to see the loving care that these holy spaces received. And it was just homey, ordinary care. Nothing fancy, nothing that had to be done with special materials or that only priests could do. Hot water, soap, mazola oil. It's a lot like our Eucharist. Bread, wine, water. Sometimes we can get a little distant from the gospel if we don't remember these homey things, like the great commandments. Love God with all your heart, mind, and strength, and love your neighbor as yourself. And the mandate that we celebrate as the Last Supper on Maundy Thursday before Good Friday, when Jesus said to his disciples, do this, that's the mandate, do this in remembrance of me. He means keep blessing, breaking, and sharing the bread. Keep drinking the wine from the common cup. Keep caring for your community. Be fair and kind to one another. And be fair and kind to yourself. Throughout Lent, we've celebrated communion at the movable, portable altar down on the floor at the crossing, remembering the simplicity and focus of Jesus' time in the wilderness, preparing for his earthly ministry that will follow. And at the same time, we've anticipated this night, Maundy Thursday, remembering the Last Supper, by using that portable table, our family table, right? With our altar cloth tonight woven from the ribbons of our prayers together in this community. Using the simple pottery chalices and patens that Nick Brown brought from Iona to keep us in contact with the simplicity of Jesus' time in the wilderness and the common nature, homey nature of this family meal. We've also used bread baked by our own Emmanuel community, Debbie Venancio, Faye Gosling, Nancy Zitka, to connect us to the Last Supper and to the nourishing spiritual food that our holy, homey sacraments give us. At the end of tonight's service, Bobby and Sandy will strip the altar, taking down all of our our beautiful red hangings and other, the cross and candlesticks, take everything away that we've had up for Holy Week. And any of you who would like to join in that very powerful moment is very welcome to come up and to help the group carry things into the sacristy. And we'll place the consecrated bread, remaining consecrated bread, into a ciborium, the container, and we'll take it in, we'll put it on the ribbon cloth of our community, on the altar in Gethsemane Garden, where we set up in the chapel. We've created a garden space for your prayer and meditation over the next 24 hours, as we remember that after the Last Supper, Jesus retreated from the upper room in Jerusalem down through the Kidron Valley over to the Garden of Gethsemane at the base of the Mount of Olives. It's a simple, easy 25-minute walk in real time. And he prayed there all night. It's a regular garden with rich, dark earth, with daffodils and tulips this time of year, because it's too early for the hollyhocks. Simple pottery and plates, gathering around our community table, hot water, soap, mazola oil, blessing and sharing bread and wine. It's the holy, ordinary things that sustain us. Amen.